No Ouroboros, no Striker, no Hunter's Fury. Nothing about this SMG build is meta, but you're gonna love it. Let me show you why.
Piece of shit wristwatch.
This off-meta SMG build brings a different type of utility to the table. It plays really well at medium and long ranges, which is unusual for an SMG build, and can also align for relaxed players who like playing from cover and for those who prefer to play run and gun style. I'm using one of the strongest SMGs in the game, which is the M1928, and what it lacks in mod slots, it provides in very high base damage. When I was a new player, I was deleting this gun as well, but eventually I figured out it was something I was sleeping on, and once I broke it out and really began to understand it, I realized that it's actually one of my favorite SMGs in the game. I say it sort of hits like a freight train because it's strong and it's steady, and it shoots really straight for an SMG. In other words, it closes in on its dot pattern, so your accuracy is good, which allows you to pull in for more headshots. And because you're shooting straight, you can land more of those headshots at a deeper distance than most of your other SMGs. And that's great because that means your enemy is really weakened on your approach, and by the time you get to him, he may only need a couple of bullets. And so the build we designed here in the build lab is wrapped around the strengths of the M1928. So let's take a closer look at the weapon. So I have 12 expertise on this weapon. If you like this weapon and you plan on using it on the regular, then I suggest you put at least 12% into it. The base damage for this weapon with this build that has 1.3 million in armor is 162. I have 600 RPM and 50 in the mag, so that's pretty decent. So SMG damage, crit chance, and damage to targets out of cover. We got a 2.3 second reload, and I'm running Outsider. Yeah, that's probably a surprise to you. So after killing an enemy, gain 100% optimal range and 100% accuracy for 10 seconds. So I mentioned that this build is wrapped around the strengths of the M1928. As I mentioned, that because it shoots steady and strong, you're able to harvest more meat per mag. And after your first kill, Outsider is going to allow you to do that at a range that plays more like an assault rifle, which is going to actually provide a ton more survivability for you. So weapons like shotguns and some of those really fast vectors require you to really get inside that 10 meters. This one's going to push that out to about 20 meters. Give or take, and still be landing your shots and putting out good damage. Landing shots being the key word. The biggest weakness of an SMG build is distance. A lot of builds have a hard time countering that. There's the SIG MPX that has perfect Outsider, and so many people in this game really love that and say it's actually their best or favorite SMG in the game. And I get it. Personally, I do prefer it on this weapon because of how it performs. So this weapon has a 600 RPM, but what it lacks in burst damage, it provides in sustained damage. One of the big problems with high RPMs, like on your tactical vector, is that yes, it does provide great DPS on the burst side, but it also provides great shots missed per second as well, which forces you into a lot of reloads. You probably notice you reload a lot with that weapon. Because of that, I evaluate SMGs by their time to kill at center mass. If they can do that really well, then you can perform really well because you're getting the most out of your mag, even though headshots are going to provide a larger crit damage value or better DPS. But the reality is, if you go for the head on our wiggly, squiggly little NPCs, you're gonna be missing a lot of shots and in reload all the time. Now the Ouroboros, on the other hand, fixes that because it provides you a larger mag and a really fast reload with extremely high RPMs, which is why the Ouroboros is the meta. I think still it reigns as king of the DPS and king of the sustained damage department as well. No, this is not going to replace your Ouroboros. However, it really aligns well with this build and this play style. So if you're looking for something new, if you like trying different weapons, this is one I definitely think you should try out. For the build, I'm running Gunner. That's for the 10% armor on kill. That's basically it. And then for your other weapons, just go with whatever you like, but this is designed for the SMG and Outsider. Oh, also keep in mind that Outsider is not refreshable. It lasts for 10 seconds. If you get 3 kills inside that 10 seconds, it's not going to be refreshing the timer. the timer has to expire before you can earn it again. It won't be a problem, but I just want you to be aware of that. Yeah, we're not running Strikers, we're not running Hunter's Fury, and this build is a really good option for this type of playstyle and weapon. So I'm gonna run through what Negotiator's Dilemma does. Now this gear set is really slept on. Well, sort of. It's just not in the limelight because, you know, you see so many Striker builds, but the reality is it's really good. It's always been really good. It's one of the first gear sets we got in the game, and it was used a lot for solo legendary runs, but it's also a great team support build. So it really brings everything you want and need to the table. Well, sort of. Let's go into what it does. So it's going to provide crit chance and crit damage. And in hostile negotiations, so this is what it's all about. So critical hits marks enemies for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks total at its base. So when you critically hit a marked enemy, so crits are absolutely essential in this build. All other marked enemies take 60% of the damage dealt. So you mark 3 targets and then you focus fire on one, and you're damaging all of them. One at 100% and the other 2 at 60% of whatever damage you're putting out. And with the backpack, you can push that to 100% so that all 3 enemies are getting 100%, which is a really great option. But for SMGs, I don't suggest you do that, and we'll go into why. Whenever a marked enemy dies, gain 2% critical hit damage, stack up to 20 times until combat ends. So that's 40% crit damage, which is great. But it is annoying that when combat ends, you have to start stacking all over. But the build is strong, so you're not gonna have to worry about that. So consider those added crit damage stacks as bonus. So this is what we look like on the stats board. So I have 57% crit chance just because not every piece is optimized. And then 147% crit damage, which is gonna turn to basically 190% crit damage once you have all your negotiator stacks. Looking at the attributes, we have weapon damage, crit damage, and more crit damage. We have some crit chance on the holster. For the knees, we have crit damage, and for the gloves, I have armor and crit damage. So as you can see, nothing is god rolled here, but it still works great. Okay, the chest piece is Palisade. On the chest piece, we're running Obliterate. So crit hits increase total weapon damage by 1%. And that lasts for 10 seconds, stacks up to 25 times. So try to get your crits as high and as close to 60 as possible. Palisades is important because it gives you another 10% armor on kill. So we have Gunner. Combine those, we're now at 20% armor on kill. We're at the same armor on kill that Hunter's Fury provides, so there's our survivability. But there's more to this. So this build has tricks up its sleeve. So remember, Negotiators provides the ability for you to put damage on 3 enemies at the same time. So you want to mark 3 targets and then focus fire on one of them. And this is one of the reasons why a slower RPM SMG is really good for Negotiators, because you don't want to waste a whole bunch of bullets marking 3 targets so that when you get to the point of focus firing on one, you don't have anything left on your mag. You just need to tag them, but that tag does need to be a crit, so it's going to take a bullet or 2, I'm sure. Come back to that main and you focus fire on him. And so the trick up its sleeve is, so that 20% armor on kill, well, when you kill all 3 of them at the same time, which isn't always going to happen, sometimes you'll kill 1 at a time, sometimes it'll kill 2, sometimes it will kill 3, you're going to get up to 60% armor on kill. So anywhere between 20 and 60% armor on kill. That's really, really, really fun. And I got some footage here showing that. That just adds a ton of survivability to your gameplay. And so when you get pinched in a corner, which happens from time to time, it gets you out of it. And that's what I noticed during my gameplay when I was using this build, is that, wow, Negotiators get you out of some really tough spots. So all 3 of the gear sets I've mentioned in this video all have their own special abilities. Like Striker is really cool because on 1-to-1 engagement, especially with SMGs, you know, you just shred that one guy and move on to the next. But this weapon doesn't go really well with Striker because Striker requires you to maintain stacks, and with the lower RPM, it's gonna do that slower. It's not going to do as good of a job at getting those stacks as some of the other SMGs. However, you can pair this up with Hunter's Fury. It does work great. And you can roll with your 20% armor on kill from that gear set, which would open up a different specialization like Firewall, which could potentially give you more damage out of your shield. The shield gives you a buff damage when enemies are in range, which is pretty cool. Now it's about the Memento. So for one, on SMG builds, you need bonus armor. And that's why I said the Negotiator's Dilemma is a great backpack, but without bonus armor, SMG builds out of cover or playing aggressive can be really tough. Possible, but not my favorite way to play. So this is bringing us our 3 cores. So that pushes us to 1.3 million in armor with 1 skill tier. And at the same time, we are at 4 red cores. Before I go into all the details, let's just look at our skills and what that does to it. So that makes our shield a 4 skill tier. Really helpful for SMGs because when you go out there and they're breaking your shield all the time, it's very frustrating. And then I'm running the Banshee to stagger enemies, so you get the same effect that Hunter's Fury could give you. And that buys you time to mark and kill everybody, or reload, or get out of trouble, whatever you need to do. So I have crit damage for the mod here. Now, kill confirmed. So we all know what this does by now, but basically you get 5% weapon damage per red core, 10% bonus armor per blue, and then 5% skill efficiency per yellow. We're not gonna use the skill efficiency, but it'll help with our skills when we have full stacks, which is 30. That'll give us 30% skill efficiency. Skill efficiency includes skill damage, skill repair, status effects, duration, skill health, everything. So that'll make your skills stronger. So we get 20% armor on kill with the build before the Memento. So we're also gonna get 10% bonus armor on kill per blue core with the Memento. We got 3 blue cores, so that's 30% bonus armor on kill. Now this bonus armor only lasts 10 seconds, but on an SMG build, that's plenty of time because you're just gonna kill somebody else and get more bonus armor. It even stacks. So you can go 30, 60, 90, 120, and keep loading it up. Some will fall off. You'll add more, and effectively with at least 1 Memento trophy, you're gonna be running around with 50% armor on kill. 30 from the bonus armor, 20% regular armor on kill. That's a lot of survivability. So it's gonna be an adjustment in playstyle to make sure that you're tagging targets. So tag, kill that third target, and always go for the tankiest guy if you have a choice. But now there's the damage part. The Memento gives you 10 seconds of 5% weapon damage per red core. So first of all, when you get 30 stacks, which is going to happen, you know, on your first control point, then you're going to get 30% weapon damage. And that's always going to be there. They can't take that away, like the vigilance talent or something like that. But when you get that kill, remember, you're killing 3 guys at a time in many cases. We got 4 red cores, so that's 20% weapon damage on kill. And even if they fall like dominoes, so you tag 3, focus on 1, and then 1 dies, the second one dies, and then the third one dies, you know, with 1 bullet kind of thing, you're gonna get 20, 40, 60 stacking very fast on your build and carry that over to the next target, the next 3 targets. And this also stacks, so it can go 20, 40, 60, so on and so forth. And this is why you become very powerful. So the faster you play, the more you get out of this. That's why Outsider and that's why the M1928 are really helpful, because they allow you to start applying that damage on approach to your next set of targets, because they're spawning over here, they're spawning over there. And that in turn minimizes your incoming damage in many cases by just eliminating those targets. And in order to play aggressive, you need the defense to do that. And that's there. Plus, the Memento is giving you 3% armor regen underneath all of that armor on kill that we talked about. So you got some passive healing going on as well. So you're gonna probably feel a little tender on your first control point because you don't have any Memento trophies. So you can feel that on the defense side, not so much on the offense side. But once you get the ball rolling, the build starts to feel amazing. So after 1 control point, you're gonna feel pretty good. And that's it. I'm really having fun with this build. With this gear set, you can swap in and out weapons of your choice. But if you're going with SMGs, I would consider one at the lower range of RPMs to get the most out of it. But if you have the Ouroboros, you can, you know, insert here, so to speak. Catch you on the next one. Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido.
What's crack-a-lackin'?
This was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy. Now maybe this cheapskate can afford to sign me up for that dating app I've had my eyes on.
Follow me.
I get it.